Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
No big rush, but I need a little guidance. My wife was stopped today by the Lee County Sheriff's Office. She was driving my grandma's car and Granny had forgotten to renew her plates. Well, I was in the car with my wife and 2 kids. She was driving and the kids was in back. Mind you, everyone was in seat belts, the radio was off and there was no loud noise. The first officer approached, riding solo in his cruiser, and asked my wife the normal "Know why I stopped you?" She replied with no, and he informed us that the plates had expired at the end of last month. We explained everything from my grandmother having cataract surgery and having complications and why we have her car, and even called my grandmother to find out it slipped her mind. Now she is 61 years old. The officer took my wife's ID, still being very polite and curious, and returned to his vehicle, and at no time did he ever touch his gun or make us feel uneasy. He acted as if he didn't even have a gun. Then a second officer crept up the passenger side of the car less than 6 away with gun unsnapped, hand firmly on the grip, gun partial pulled out of the holster, and startled my wife, the kids and myself. Once I noticed him, he snickered and asked me if he made me nervous, still having his sidearm partial pulled out of his holster. I informed him that he did, and he then asked me why. I explained that this was a standard stop and that there was no need for all this. Still very close to me in the same manner, he asked need for what, and then made a motion to the other officer. I stated that we didn't realize the plate had expired and would be getting it taken care of, and that there was no need for all he was doing. He said it was for his safety. My wife then told him he was being rude and disrespectful, and he said he wasn't, he was just doing his job. I then asked him if I approached him in the same manner he approached me what would happen, and he stated he would arrest me. I then asked him why he felt he was above the law, and again he stated that he was just doing his job and it is for his safety. All the while my kids was crying in the back seat and scared. I then asked him if he has to follow the same laws I do, and he stated yes. The other officer returned and gave my wife the ticket and we left. We was less than a block from home, so as soon as I got home I started calling the sheriff's office to complain about the issue. I did feel as if I was fearful for my wife and kids' safety. The officer even told me who do I call when I need help, but when I called I was transferred to a line that just rang and rang, so I called back and was hung up on while I was trying to explain why I wanted the duty officer and needed to make the complaint. So I then was upset and I called back a second time, and yes, I did cuss, and the lady told me I could not speak like that, and I started to inform her I could, that I was protected under the Constitution, and she hung up again. I then got a call back from an officer that kept pushing towards the ticket like I was trying to get out of it. I kept telling him it had nothing to do with that, but how the officer banished his weapon and put my family and myself in fear for our safety and had my kids crying. And when I asked for them to have an officer come out to speak to the kids, he acted as if he hung up, and then after I told my wife he must have hung up, he told me to have a good day and hung up. Mind you, I asked on all 3 calls to have a commanding officer come to my home and take a complaint. Seeing I was getting nowhere, I waited for shift change and then called again. I was informed that an office would be getting a hold of me. 4 hours later one did call me back, but still I have not seen one commanding officer like I had requested to take a formal complaint. While I was talking to the last officer, I was told that the officer I dealt with was not acting appropriately, and he asked if making a violation would make me happy. I stated all I really wanted was to have the officer apologize to my family and speak with my kids so they would not fear police officers. He insisted at that point the officer did not violate policy or the law and he would not do that. And then used my word against me about the violation. And he then hung up on me. I need to know where to turn and how I can get something done. I do know what my kids to know, that when they have been wronged by anyone, especially a cop, that there is no need to fear them, that there is always something to be done. If you can send me in the right direction, that would be great. And as the statute states, the 2017 Florida Statutes, Title XLVI, Crimes, Chapter 790, Weapons and Firearms. View entire chapter. 790.10 Improper exhibition of dangerous weapons or firearms. If any person having or carrying any dirk, sword, sword cane, firearm, electric weapon, or device, or other weapon shall, in the presence of one or more persons, exhibit the same in a rude, careless, angry, or threatening manner, not in necessary self-defense, the person so offending shall be guilty of a misdemeanor of the first degree, punishable as provided in S 775.082 or S 775.083. I feel that the officer has done just that. Thanks and sorry so long and so late. By the way, this all took place starting around 2:30 p.m., so light was not a factor. But I will add, I don't live in the best area of Lee County, but I bought the home cheap and the taxes are low. But that should never matter.
Hey Sheriff, we have a question about why your office, your intelligence division, is investigating private citizens for criminal investigation that happen to be activists that are overseeing your department. Why would you have your intelligence division investigate private citizens? We have done...
for life hating so much.
Sir, we don't hate anyone. We love freedom and we love American people. And government is out of control. That's why you're seeing such a revolt nationwide. Why can't you just answer, why is Susan Edwards, your intelligence division, investigating private citizens? This should not happen.
Are you here to apply for a job?
Possibly I might be applying for a job, but that's irrelevant to my question. Why would you ask that question?
Well, enjoy the fair.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Excuse you?
Excuse me, sir.
So those of you that haven't
Wow.
been on a bike before, we're
Sheriff's
just
getting a little too pushy. You work for us, Sheriff. Just keep that in mind. At one time we respected you, but not with that type of attitude.
County. This is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County COPWATCH with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if some, if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.